There's a term you'll hear me use a lot um, in any videos if I keep doing this, and yes, it's been a whopping minute, maybe 2 minutes since the last one. It just occurred to me I need to say something because in the last few years talking to people, I've realized they don't know this term anymore. It's LD, Learning Disabled. I'm going to use it a lot because I am dyslexic, as I've said. I'm also kind of on the border of ADD, not ADHD. I am not hyperactive, but I do have trouble with focusing and keeping my attention, and I have some strange things that I do because of that. Um, in the last couple of years, I've noticed some differences in the way we look at individuals with learning disabilities, and I'm not necessarily convinced it's good. Both my parents are teachers, and I had a lot of people fighting for me, at least in regards to them and the teachers they were friends with, trying to get my education. Now, there were teachers who tried very hard to make sure I failed, and usually they failed because I'm very, very, very stubborn. But it seems anymore to be labeled as LD, you have to be disruptive, lazy, all the things I was accused of being because I didn't do as well. And the reality was, I did very well for what my limitations made. And in fact, a lot of times I ended up doing better than some of the quote average students who were normal, um, which usually consisted of them being mad at me because I knew and understood things that had to do more with memorization, which I tend to excel unreasonably well at, where certain pieces of information sometimes get lost. The memorization comes in handy as a writer because I can work on a story at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at work and write it at 11 o'clock in the evening and remember it. Working on it meaning just in my head. But I don't read very well, which is interesting again as a writer. I use a device, or a software rather, known as Dragon. If you've seen the commercials for it, one nifty feature they have that I have fallen in love with. I don't know how I function. I didn't function. I would never be able to even consider going back to school without it, which is it reads. It actually reads. It's the most amazing thing out there. There were devices that you could put over a book when I was a kid. They were ridiculously expensive, and they didn't read punctuations. So you just got one continuous line of words that you had to break up into sentences. Where this actually reads punctuations, and to a degree, things like question marks and exclamation points and the dot 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 and all that fun stuff, which means editing is so much easier. I don't see certain kinds of mistakes the way you would if you don't have dyslexia. I know they're there. I am forever trying to give my work to other people to try to edit for me, not because I want to get out of the work, but because I've gone over it 7 or 8 times, and I know there's still mistakes in there because there have to be. And they end up finding thousands, and we're talking about a short story, of mistakes. Um, with this device, though, I can listen to it, and if I use the wrong follow or fallow, which, if you don't know what that means, it's really frustrating. Um, and it can tell if I do something like my last book, patent instead of patient, which drove me nuts because I ended up just finding replacing it. Um, it it is my saving grace right now. I was never able to keep up with the news. Little thing like that. It's only, what, 6, 7 paragraphs, only it's 300 articles. There's no way. There's just no way if you're dyslexic. But I put it in, I select it, I copy it, I paste it into a word processor, and I hit read that, and it reads it. It's amazing. I get to know what's going on in the world, and I actually can be the one telling other people what's happening instead of looking like a moron who's too stupid to read the newspaper. Although I'm not reading the newspaper, yes, I am getting them off of Facebook news sites. but such is life. But anyway, this was really just me trying to give an idea of what is LD. When you hear me say that, learning disabled, in my case, mainly dyslexic. And if you want to know what that is, I think the site still exists, IDA.com, International Dyslexic Association. Yes, it's a whole association of us.